The team is really appreciative for the feedback so far since we began this journey to pour out our knowledge on digital marketing and help you sustain your startups and build your already performing businesses. This new chapter is to get to know more from other individuals who are well versed in digital marketing and product designs that can help us improve our knowledge and sustain our businesses. To introduce my first guest, he's someone I've known for over a decade. You know, one of those friends that you can still pick your phone and not check for their names on your phone book, but just dial out their contacts. Yes, that's the kind of friend I'm talking about. We've been together through the thick, thin, difficult, and now beautiful aspects. We are here to engage him further, to know his knowledge, and to learn a thing or two from him. He's worked with MTN Who's as a product designer. He's worked with Citi FM and CitiTV. We were once working together at Focus One Media. He's traveled far and near the country just to make his knowledge on digital marketing and the online space that's ripe for us to tap into. Without wasting much time, let's welcome Yaw Antwi. Welcome.
Thank you, George.
Good having you.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking ever since I came into contact with you. That is somewhere 2011.
2013.
2013, okay.
Yeah.
11 years now.
Yeah.
Yes, I think your knowledge has improved.
True.
Of course, your pockets are now deeper.
That one I don't know. I don't really
Well,
know.
one thing is constant, that is your height. I mean, you've seen the project. We are trying to develop digital marketers.
Yeah.
And you are one of the key guys in Ghana. I mean, your resume is quite deep. Tell us, I mean, what has the journey been so far for you?
Okay, so I think I originally started as a designer, but then I have interest in media also. So my first proper job was with a media company. I think it was through that we met. And I think through that work, I got experience working on social media pages and then also working on digital, let's say, websites and things like that. So in terms of my experience with digital marketing, I think that's where I started.
I know very well that you began your journey trying to do your entrepreneurship through online and all that. Yeah. And it was very daring because images of you going around selling and all that, these are very good experiences. It was a startup and you began through online. Why did you make that choice?
Okay, so I think my very first personal experience with trying to start something online was when I was in TTU. Our main idea was we are learning a number of things in school. Why not start implementing those skills whilst we are in school? So then we started a podcast on school. That's like 7 years ago. Back then, I don't know many people knew what a podcast was. So we started that. Our primary was just to put our skills, what we are learning in the classroom, just apply it. It was a very good grounds to learn. Especially you are applying some of the things you are taught in the class. And then most of us were like design students. But then we are doing things outside of design. So we have a podcast. You have to create a website for the podcast. You have to make sure that people are listening to the podcast. You have to even know who's listening to the podcast. So analytically creating a website, updating it. And then I think we were just passionate back then, like 7 years ago, just passionate, wanted to do something.
Why is that still essential for the now entrepreneur or anybody who is trying to start something up right now?
Yeah, so I'll say when we started back then, even if we had failed back then, I don't think the pain or the results of that failure would have been big. Like, we were experimenting in a very safe space. We're all students. We had a regular income coming in. You don't have to think about what you are eating tomorrow. Like you have someone to fall on. So especially for students, I mean, if you're a student on your campus, it's a very safe space to at least try almost anything and everything, right? If you feel, I mean, you don't really feel that much of, you don't feel the pain or not feel the results of the failure. And I mean, that's also not the only thing that you're doing. I mean, your focus is on schools, but yes, so it was a very good place for us to, I mean, try. In terms of what people can do or why people should get started in digital marketing. I think like even now, there are a lot of tools that make like becoming a digital marketer like very very easy and simple. So I work with one lady on her social media pages. So I design for her, and then she sends me a copy. And then what she does is, so she has an idea of what copy she wants. She just puts it in ChatGPT, and then all the copies generated. 7 years ago, no one had that.
Of course.
Right? So it makes the entry barrier a lot more. It's lower now, which also increases your chances of being good. If you apply yourself a little bit, you become a very good digital marketer.
It has become very essential nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, back then when you are trumpeting these things, investors will not even look your way because they don't see why they should be putting their, I mean, capital in
Yeah.
your idea or your plans to become whoever that you want to become. But these days, we've seen a lot of young ones learning the trade. They are trying to maybe create something on their own. Give me 2 simple steps that they should begin with, aside the normal going on Facebook and going on Twitter, going on TikTok, and those things.
You're saying someone wants to start creating content, 2 things that they should look out for. So I think most of the successful content creators or most of the successful digital marketers that we have around, they are mostly in domains that one they know a lot about or two they are passionate about. So just pick a domain that you are comfortable, you're passionate about that domain, and you also know a lot about that domain. It becomes a lot more easier for you. So you are passionate about digital marketing, you know a lot more about digital marketing. So it's very easy for you to create content about digital marketing. Even if you sleep and you wake up and you say, George, tell me how to optimize my social media pages. You can do that. So that's the first thing you do. So make sure that the domain or the niche that you're choosing, like you're comfortable with it, you're passionate about it. The next thing you do is, I mean, it sounds
That's to mean that once I am maybe selling local soap, I've learned that trade, and I want to begin. I should be creating content about local soap.
So that can be one, but also liquid soap, it sits in a broader space. So let's say, why do people use liquid soap? Because maybe keep their surfaces and stuff hygienic, or if there's a way like that. Sure. So it sits in a broader scope. So not just the liquid soap, but then what does using liquid soap benefit from? So that can also be all around that. So aside choosing the niche, the next thing is, most of the time the first step is very very important, and we mostly glorify the first step. Like, I'm waiting to get a camera, I'm waiting to get a mic, I'm waiting to write a perfect script, I'm waiting to do all of that. Don't wait for anything, just start.
Great.
Just start. So last weekend I was at bar camp, and then I played our first episode of Building Bytes to a number of people. Like, the episode is scrappy. I don't know if I can use it. It's shit.
Sure.
The first episode is shit, and it's still there. Like, before I edited it, because like it must not be perfect when you get started. It must be raw. It must be natural. It must be organic. It can't be perfect, but you have to start. If you don't start, I mean, you don't get to episode 20, you get to episode 30, but you have to start. So just with what you have, just get started, and then once you get started, you keep improving. So get started, be consistently improving, not just consistently shooting the first one that you shoot.
Of course.
Consistently improving.
Improve it, of course. And you talk about a number of tools now available that people can follow on to.
There are lots. I mean, these days it's very easy to be okay, it's not so easy, but then it's quite easy to be a digital marketer or be a content creator. There's a lot. This is almost every phone can shoot something. Right? Almost every phone can shoot something. And even the digital channels that you distribute, you are making it a lot more easier for you to publish. TikTok and all of that. You don't need a lot. Like, you can just start publishing. So I think things are very easy now in terms of tools. So when it comes to generating topics to talk about, you don't even need someone to brainstorm with. You can brainstorm with ChatGPT. And then if you need images, you need maybe insert videos to insert. There are a lot of platforms that you can go on. Just do a simple Google search.
I don't like the fact that you say there are lots when you don't mention some.
Yes, if you want videos, you can go to FreePic. I think there are a number of videos that you can find there. You can also go to Pixel. I think there's a number of videos you can find there. terms of images, you can go to Unsplash, a number of like local images that you can find there. I think like these days is much like then there's the barrier is so low to enter.
What do you think can be done in your expertise?
Mm.
You've mentioned that Kotoko had
Yeah.
a team of media personnel
Yeah.
dedicated to handling their affairs.
Yeah.
Now you don't see that.
Mm.
So it means that was working in your view.
And I think so when Legon Cities also came in, I think they also had their own media team and things like that. That really influenced like the other guys. So Kotoko had their own team. When you go to the stadium, you see that I mean the guys are working. Like you cannot see they are working. And you can see they are working and you can also see the output of their work. After the game, you see the pictures, you see the videos, you see the graphics. And I think it was influencing a number of other teams that I saw their games. But right now, I don't think the big teams, I don't even think they have like media, they have like an entire graphic design team. Even they have, they're not doing a good job. Right. So I think like for the big guys not doing that, the small guys, they won't even consider it. Right. If the big guys are doing it, it's going to go a long way to influence the smaller teams to also do something good.
I mean, does it has anything to do with monetization of these contents that the club owners or maybe the management of these teams are not seeing real tangibles from these teams that they are putting together? It's just like money down the drain. They are not getting any returns. Is
I
that
mean, from the business perspective, I think we can make the argument that okay, I've invested in a media team, I have a photographer, I have one lot, but then I'm not getting direct revenue from it. I will look at it in the other way. That Kotoko is over how many years? 80 years class, right?
Yes.
You have a lot of fan base.
35, so
yes, you have a lot of fan base. And you can touch a lot of people. So if you touch them and you touch them right, you'll be able to harness the monetization, whatever that comes out of it. Which wouldn't happen in 2 years, wouldn't happen in 3. It can happen in 2 years, but then with how you are going now, it will happen in 2 years. So it means you have to invest and harness that opportunity which is there. Because it's opportunity which is there. If Kotoko plays a home game, there are a lot of people who go to the stadium. All of them have mobile phones. All of them have social media accounts. Why are they not following Kotoko? It means you're not doing something right. Right now, if I look at Kotoko designs, like sometimes I get depressed.
Of course,
it's terrible.
I mean, for what I've seen you do,
surely even like the club for the previous designs.
And I'm saying that comparatively, for what I've seen you do as a designer, and for the quality of content that I see from some of our clubs,
it's terrible.
I mean, it's terrible. It's your first word, and that first word you use, I think we can
I'll use it for them.
Of course,
it's terrible.
We can agree. We can agree to that. And, yes, I think that's fine. Now we've also talked about the need to have the team and the reasons and mechanisms to be put in place to make sure that you are getting real tangibles from this team, not just putting the team together, but sure getting them to work and I mean getting revenue from them. Wow. I never knew you were a Kotoko fan.
Oh, Mata, I'm a full Kotoko fan.
That I never knew.
Kotoko.
Me, I'm a second year as a
I know.
I'm loving this conversation. But I say yes and now.
Go ahead and
add. But before you leave us, what will be that 3 things you will tell us in all the areas that we have, in all the industries that we have, with respect to digital marketing, what we can actually touch on?
So first, I think there's a lot of opportunity now, right, in terms of digital marketing, and also for entrepreneurs. So right now, I buy a lot of things on Instagram. Let me just start with that. So there are people who buy things from that I've not seen them before. I just go there, I see that thing, I like it, I screenshot it. Can you have this? And then the guy just sends it over to me. That's also to say that there are a lot of opportunities now, especially for businesses, people doing commerce. You don't necessarily need a store to start selling something now. You just need a social media page and things like that. So that's one thing that I think people should start looking at. If you have not paid attention to, like, start thinking about that and seeing how you can make use of the digital space that is available now. And the second thing, I'll get back to the initial thoughts that I made. Like, get started, right? You don't have to wait for a perfect time. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect time to get started with anything especially with content. There's never going to be a perfect time. You might wait for the best, wait for iPhone 15. It might come, it might not come. But what you have now, start with it. That will be my second.
The Android people.
Yes, I will start with it. Just start with it. People will come for the content, not necessarily because it's beautiful. If it's beautiful, it's a good thing. But if it's not beautiful and the content is good, you'll still come. So just get started. That will be my second thing. My last thing will be for people who are still in school. As I said earlier, school is a very safe place to try a lot of things. If you are in school now, try something new, right? Don't just go to class and then come back to your hostel and then just hang around. Don't do that. Anybody can do that. Don't be everybody. So try something. If it's podcasting you want to do, try it. If it's you want to sell something, a student environment is there for you. Like explore, do something. And then these days, a lot of opportunity, AI and things like that have made things a lot more easy. So I mean, try learn something new, and then the things that you want to try must not necessarily be your line of study. So you are an engineering student.
Sure.
Right now, you are doing business management.
I mean, mentioning that means that you actually know where I'm coming.
Yes,
Of
you,
course.
you are engineering. You are doing business management now. I did design, though I'm doing design and a couple of other things. I'm doing media, like I do podcasting, like design and media podcasting. So, like, try out things, not necessarily in your line of study. Try so many things. I know people who are who head digital departments now, who studied agriculture in school. It has nothing to do with running a digital office, but then explore something like in that same space, like that 4 years that you have, do something. I had a lecturer in school when you ask your question, they say you to say something, you pay school fees. So you to do something, I just like
course.
do something. Like,
Yes.
do something.
Okay.
That's
Thank
the
you
plan.
very much, my
Sure.
brother. Thank you. Pleasure having you. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
Of course. I mean, when I chanced on you coming to town, I said this thing should happen. And of course, we've done it. And I'm very glad that you made time out of your busy schedule to.
Yes. And the schedule is not busy.
Okay. So, I mean, this is our first episode. We are done with it. We are here to let you know more about the digital space, the product that we run, the industries that are available in this country. We'll find a way to touch on them one by one. So stick to this channel and share it with your friends and family, whoever, so that they can also see the good news and follow up. Thank you very much for sticking with us.